Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. I am Chair and Commissioner Rick Vest. To my left is Vice Chair and Commissioner Krista Yoakum, and to her left, Commissioner Matt Schulte. On my right is Commissioner Sean Flowerday. Would you please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, please begin the meeting.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall of the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's open meeting can be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Printing options are available upon request. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on March 4th, 2025.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 2, claims. Item 2A, approval of the claims processed through March 7th, 2025. And I'll note there is an amendment for payroll.
I'll move approval of the claims processed through March 7th and including the payroll as presented.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the claims through March 7th and the payroll through March 5th. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 2B, approve of a claim to El Centro de las Americas in the amount of $6,755.90.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 2B. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum,
I'll abstain as I serve on their board.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 3 is our special presentation, the Commissioner's Award of Excellence for Tom Wixer, Engineering, in the category of productivity. Commissioners, I have Tom's letter to read into the record.
Please go ahead.
Tom Wixer, laborer with the Lancaster County Engineering Department, has been selected for the Commissioner's Award of Excellence winner for January 2025. Wixer has worked for Lancaster County for 20 years. He was nominated by Lou Gasper in the category of productivity. In his nomination, Gasper states, Tom fixes and changes all tires not only for our county engineer vehicles and equipment, but also works on county fleet vehicles utilized by the Sheriff's Office, Corrections, Property Management, and other county agencies. When a vehicle or other piece of equipment has a tire to fix, Tom works quickly to complete the fix so that the employee utilizing the vehicle or equipment can return to their job duties as soon as possible. This especially holds true for the Sheriff's Office vehicles. Tom's swift work in getting these vehicles and employees back in service in a timely fashion undoubtedly saves the county money. In addition to his duties related to vehicles and equipment, Tom is a person that deals with anything that needs to be done around the shop, even if it means stepping outside of his box. He willingly takes care of what needs to be done, helps anyone in need, and always does so with a smile. For these reasons, we are pleased to award Tom Wixer with the Commissioner's Award of Excellence for the month of January 2025.
Do we have his supervisor here this morning? Oh, come on up, sir. Somebody started this process.
Chris Meyer, Road Superintendent, Lancaster County. I've been working here for a little over 2 years now, and since I've been here, Tom has been one of our greatest assets. He always gets his job done on time, and he's really easy to work with. So he definitely deserves this, and I appreciate everything you do, Tom.
Tom, it's my honor to present you with this. Thank you so much for quite literally keeping Lancaster County on the road. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of myself and the commission for all the reliability, the years of dedicated service, just yeoman's work for Lancaster County and for our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Here you go.
Lou Gasper and Ricky Schweitzer for nominating me for this award. And I think Mike Hall helped a little bit too, and everybody else that okayed it.
So thank you, Tom. We appreciate your being here.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. I would also like to thank Tom for his work. As I was sitting back looking at the monitor today, I'm like, wow, Tom has a real serious face today. And usually whenever I see him, he's smiling, even when he's dealing with the worst of conditions, changing tires out on snowy, wet, muddy roads on our bad days. I can always count on Tom to have a good attitude and show up and get it done. Although he always tells me that he doesn't have a good attitude, that's not what I see. And so Tom was actually nominated by his coworker Lou, and I just want to thank Lou for his work on this too, because it's always great when your team members believe in you. And so thanks, Tom, and thanks, Lou.
That is one of the
Commissioners?
highest honors, to be nominated by your peers and recognized by your peers. So that's a clear testament to your good work. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Matt, anything?
Sure, I'd just add and say, we really appreciate your work. Tires and mechanics are not things you want to think about when you're trying to get out on the road and keep the roads clean, so thanks for helping clean and clear, so thanks for helping make that happen around here.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you being here.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 4, our consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of A, amendment to county contract C-24-0648 with Unity Inspired LLC to perform mental health substance abuse evaluations and educational instructions for inmates at county corrections. B, right-of-way contracts with the following: James M. Buell, North 162nd Street, Alvo Road, in the amount of $280. Rosanna R. Johnson Living Trust, North 162nd Street, Alvo Road, in the amount of $615.50. Larry and Constance Scott, Saltillo Road Improvement, in the total amount of $30,600. Scott and Lynn Hewerman, Saltillo Road Improvement, in the total amount of $25,700. Lyle and Cheryl Goodkoff, Saltillo Road Improvement, in the total amount of $13,300. And C, receive and place and file the following reports from the Assessor Register of Deeds, Clerk of the District Court, Records Management, and County Clerk.
Very good.
I move approval of the consent items.
I would second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 5, new business. 5A, resolution authorizing the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer to function as the authorized official for the purposes of enrolling in the Medicare program through the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Just a reminder that county operations go from repairing tires to administering Medicare, so please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 5B, a rental agreement with Unique Event Rentals for temporary Election Day furniture. The cost of the county is not to exceed $195.97.
Good morning, Commissioners. Todd Wilchin, the Lancaster County Election Commissioner. What you have before you is a contract. You obviously know that we have 2 elections coming up. They're 4 weeks apart, one in April, one in May. We have 177 precincts, and 3 of them need temporary furniture to be polling place on Election Day. So you have a contract right for you. It is for the primary election. I did send in a almost exact duplicate one, which would have been for the general, but there was some confusion and they didn't get on the agenda. It'll be on next week's agenda, but it's identical. It's the same price, the only difference is the dates. So with that, I'd entertain any questions.
Because sometimes we wonder if we're doing things more than once, Todd. This will clarify
Yes,
that.
I know, it's deja vu, and sometimes it is.
Did we just
believe
do
it or not.
this?
But, And it was unique, like I said. I would have preferred, and I'll go back and talk to the vendor, maybe do one contract, but
It's fine. We can handle it.
It's a nice, small little amount here. I move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve, and it's not on the agenda, but we were talking about you last week, and I just wanted you to know and the board agreed, I expressed our appreciation on behalf of all the efforts you make to run elections in Lancaster County and how fortunate we feel to have someone of your caliber doing this, so.
well, I appreciate that, Commissioner Vest. And I would just point out, and Commissioner Yocum, you referenced, we have 177 precincts, and we only have to provide furniture for 3. And so the reason why we have successful elections in Lancaster County is it's a great community. We have a lot of people that step forward to be election day workers. We have a lot of facilities out there that step forward and host election day activities. And we have a great team at the office. So it's not done, but we all do it together. And we appreciate the support we have from the county board as well. So
Very welcome. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you very much.
5C, a software and service subscription agreement with Pine Technologies LLC to provide community corrections and corrections access to case management software and to perform installation, data conversion, and training services. The annual service fees are $49,950.
Good morning, Jeff Kilpatrick with Community Corrections. This is a suite of programs that we'll be implementing to do our case management. One of the big pluses with this new contract is that we'll also give the jail access, so that individuals that start treatment in the jail will be able to see what was done in the jail, and then should an individual be in one of our programming, end up back in the jail will be able to see what work we have done with them.
This is a really important step in this continuity of care that we're looking at
Yes.
throughout
yes.
corrections. It's
Absolutely.
Great. I move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
5D, recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of the county sheriff to award a contract to Industrial Services Incorporated for deceased animal removal in the amount of $40,000.
Walking down the agenda of random things the county board does.
So
Dead animal removal. I'll move approval.
somebody's got to do it. It's our folks. Motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 5E, agreement with Lancaster Rural Water District 1 of Bennett for the relocation of waterline facilities located outside the county's right-of-way along Bennett Road as necessary for county's culvert construction project. The cost of the county is not to exceed $26,232.80.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jenna Vogt with the Lancaster County Engineering Department. I have an exhibit. R299 is part of our Phase 2 culvert projects. It is located down here, just east of Bennett on Bennett Road. Our proposed construction intersects a rural water line, so this is necessary to relocate the water line so we can proceed with our culvert replacement project.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 5F, agreement with the Nebraska Department of Transportation to share the cost to repair and stabilize a slope failure adjacent to West Rock Creek Road where it intersects with State Highway 79. The cost of the county is not to exceed $300,000.
Good morning again. Jenna Vogt with the Lancaster County Engineering Department. This project is located along the intersection of Highway 79 and West Rock Creek Road in the northern part of the county. You can see it right here. Oak Creek is eating away at the bank, so this project is necessary to stabilize the bank so we don't have any issues with our roadway and we are splitting the cost with the Department of Transportation since part of it is along their highway.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to 5G, recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of the county engineer to award and execute a purchase order to Reading Truck Equipment for two 11-foot service bodies in the amount of $230,000 to $300.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ryan Shaw, Lancaster County Engineering Fleet and Facilities Manager. These service bodies are for two F1 or F550 chassis that we bought out of last year's fiscal budget. And speaking of Tommy, these right now Tommy's working out of an F150 truck with there's no air compressor or anything. These beds would have an onboard air compressor along with the crane to allow him to pick tires and stuff up the. There's a little crane on the truck he has. He's got to manually operate. So this would definitely be a benefit to the county. This would also allow us to have a second truck for if Tommy's doing tires to allow us to go out. Maybe if we have a tread roll off of a compact track loader or something, we have a truck we can actually do that. The mechanics are currently utilizing a Ford F-250 with tools roll around in it. It's just, just kind of updating our fleet.
So these vehicles would be, better prepared and better
Absolutely.
equipped to deal
Absolutely.
with whatever repairs are needed out in the county.
Yeah, currently we don't have any air compressors or anything, or let's say, if you're working on heavy equipment and you need a torch to cut some stuff out, the beds we lay the torches down the bed, strap them down, so they're right for DOT. These actually have torch mounts and would have hoses out of the weather, and these are an actual bed to do that type of work.
Funny story. The railroad used to take about 5 guys to do 20 miles of track maintenance, and now they have 2 guys with a well-equipped truck like what you're describing. They do about 50 miles, so
I'm from the rail
the
industry
equipment
also.
matters.
Yep.
That sounds like less physical risk
Yes,
to
absolutely,
the people doing the
absolutely.
work.
Keep people out of
which
the
is
danger
important.
zone. Yes.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve.
Thank you,
Please
Commissioner.
call the roll. Thank you, Ryan.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. That brings us to 5H, a non-disclosure agreement allowing the exchange of confidential information with an internet service provider for the purposes of conducting a feasibility study and negotiating a potential lease of conduit in the county's broadband conduit system.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. 5I, the following recommendations from the Personnel Policy Board. I1, to revise the following classifications for Maintenance Repair Worker 2, Facilities Manager, Corrections Specialist, Corrections Lieutenant, Jail Administrator, Civil Engineer 1, Civil Engineer 2, Civil Engineer 3, Civil Engineer 4, the Assistant County Engineer, Juvenile Detention Officer. I2, to revise classifications that require a valid driver's license to include the following language: possession of a valid driver's license and ability to be insured by the county's insurance carrier for the positions of investigator, mitigation specialist, maintenance stores clerk, records courier, imaging clerk, automotive mechanic, diesel technician, equipment operator 2, senior equipment operator, traffic sign worker, repair and cleaning worker, building cleaning manager, laborer G, laborer 2, laborer supervisor, noxious weed inspector, chief noxious weed inspector, maintenance repair worker 1, asbestos worker 2, master electrician, equipment mechanic and supervisor, maintenance and construction manager, assistance maintenance and construction manager, maintenance supervisor, assistance maintenance supervisor, assistance roads maintenance superintendent, road superintendent, security guard supervisor, deputy sheriff sergeant, court officer, title inspector, community corrections coordinator, community correctioners field specialist, community corrections case manager, screening specialist, community corrections drug screening and lead technician, records coordinator, senior field administrator, juvenile detention supervisor, juvenile training coordinator, youth services program coordinator, juvenile detention team leader, pre-adjudication specialist, right-of-way agent, right-of-way manager, real property appraiser 1, real property appraiser 2, real property appraiser 3, the veteran service caseworker, Engineering Aid 1, Engineering Technician 1, Engineering Technician 2, Engineering Technician 3, Engineering Technician Bridge Inspector. 3, to revise the classifications to require a valid driver's license dependent on work assignment to include the following language: dependent upon work assignment, possession of a valid driver's license, and the ability to be insured by the county's insurance carrier is required. 4, cleaning supervisor, cleaning equipment operator, and asbestos worker 1. 4, to delete the following classifications: for defense eligibility technician, staff services specialist, extension assistant 2, biosolids coordinator, stores clerk 1, stores clerk 2, jury clerk, food service worker 1, van driver, road construction and maintenance helper, maintenance electrician, maintenance supervisor, plant operations manager, transition coordinator, assistant nursing director, juvenile justice coordinator, assistant county agent, nurse 1, right-of-way technician, commercial property appraiser, senior commercial property appraiser, appraisal supervisor, mental health technician residential, mental health emergency services worker, mental health program coordinator, veteran service representative, general assistance representative, general assistance officer, engineering aid 2, drafting technician 1, drafting technician 2. 5, to amend County Rule 1 definitions. 6, to amend County Rule 8.2 and 8.3 conditions to preliminary status. 7, to amend County Rule 11.2 disciplinary action. 8, to amend County Rule 17.27 mental health crisis center hiring and retention incentive update. And 9, to amend County Rule 19 leave of absence.
Good morning. How are you guys this morning?
Someone's been busy.
There's a lot here. On the classes, we are doing something a little bit different with all of them. I can quickly walk through those differences if you have any questions about them. And then they're on the rule changes. Again, I can just give that key highlight of what's changing there, just to make sure it's clear on what we're doing. So the first class, 4826 maintenance repair worker, there's 2 changes here. One is to add steam heat thermostats to the definition of what they work with as part of their responsibilities, and then to add the driver's license requirement. The facilities maintenance manager, 4956, we need to change the driver's license requirement to be dependent. We have some facility maintenance managers who are assigned at a facility and they stay there. We have others that travel around, so depending on the work location, we need to update that language to make that clear that some are required to have it and some are not, depending on where they're assigned. And stop me at any time if you have questions. The 3 correctional positions, 5746, correctional specialist, 5758, correctional lieutenant, 5765. We are asking to remove the driver's license from those. They are not required to drive as part of their duties. So the ask there is to remove the driver's license requirement. The civil engineering classes 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is really to update the language on all of them. There's a variety of changes in them, but it's really to comply with our federal, state regulations and standards, to include assisting with permits in their duty requirements, project documentation and timeline in their duty assignments, and assist with public requests. Also, we're calling out some software that they have to be able to be proficient with, such as CAD and other software specifically used in engineering. So those are the updates there. The juvenile detention officer, 7860, it's to add the specific language about not just the driver's license, but you also must be insured in that class. And that's the first grouping of changes in I.1. I.2, this is a little easier, a little cleaner. It's just we want to make sure the driver's license language and the information about having to also be able to be insured is in all the classifications listed there. I.3, again, we want to revise this classification to say the driver's license is dependent on your work assignment. Some of these positions have to be able to drive and others don't, so depending on the work assignment, which will be noted in the employee's position description if they need to comply with this or not, just to make sure the class is clear. And then the next one, I.4, when we did our fair FLSA audit on exempt and non-exempt, we looked at all the classes that hadn't been used in a very long time, and that's cleanup. 1.5, Rule 1. This definition is simply changing, so it says department head and agency head, because we use both terms and rules. We want to be clear that they mean the same thing. 8.2, this allows for the probationary period in I.6 to be extended for up to a maximum of 1 year. So if they're not quite meeting all the requirements at the end of 6 months, we can extend that probation up to another 6 months for any unrepresented employee. 8.3 is just updating department head to agency head. I-7, 11.2, the primary change here is we are changing the language from incompetent or inefficient to ineffective or deficient on how we describe that, just because we know that people can change, and we really want to use words that inspire them to realize that they can change what is causing them to need to improve their performance. I.8, 1727. This is to allow any new hire to receive that hiring bonus incentive. We just needed to change some dates to clarify anyone hired after December 13th, 2023 is eligible to receive it, because we still have the grant money. And then 19, this is the change where we can allow any unrepresented employee to use any accrued sick leave or vacation while they are on probation. And I know Greg is up here because he has a specific ask when you adopt this one. So I'll let you talk about that.
Thanks, Barb. Greg with the payroll administrator for Lancaster County Clerk's Office. With that, Barb saying, Rule 19, the ask is if we can make that effective to March 20th. That's being a pay period beginning date. Simplicity of Oracle is date driven, and putting it on the start of a pay period allows for cleanliness of the system. So.
Any questions about any of those?
March 20th.
Yep, start of the pay period.
Okay. Any questions? Yeah, Matt.
I have a couple questions. So first, going to that first section of revise the following classifications, there's the 3 corrections one. Those ones are all striking driver's licenses. Seems to me like we're adding driver's licenses to everything else, or driver's license when necessary. I'm just curious why those ones are not retaining the language of driver's license when necessary.
So as part of this project, when we met with all our directors or agency heads about which jobs really are required, it is an essential function that they must be able to drive, a primary function of their job. And these 3, it is not a primary or essential function of their job. They routinely do not take transfers, leave the facility. They're not driving up to the hospital. The lieutenants and the correctional specialists, jail administrators, they're really usually at the facility, and that is just not an essential function and a regular duty of their positions. So we want to make sure what we put in there as essential functions is truly reflective of those essential functions, and therefore we removed them. Those are all kind of moving up into more management of the facility.
Your lieutenant, I don't know about the correctional specialist too, Spot, but generally speaking, your lieutenant is your shift commander. So they're inherently never going to leave. Like, they'll be the last one to leave. They're kind of the captain that goes down with the ship, kind of a thing, almost no matter whatever happens. And then the jail administrator obviously is, 9 to 5 and isn't usually taking transports.
Yeah, they're like Brad's deputies. Yeah.
As I remember too, we had some public conversation about adding or the insured portion with the negotiations last year. The representative was here to talk about that. So are those changes included here, or did we pass those a year ago and then this is just catching up to some of those? Can you just remind me kind of where we stand on that one?
So we did a few of them, but what that kicked off is for us to then audit all those positions where driving is truly an essential function. We need you to be able to make sure that not only just driver's license is included, but that you must have a license and be insured by the county's insurance. So you're going to see that language and change in all the classes where driver's license language is being adjusted.
Final question was actually related to the last one, number 9, the leave of absence. Why are we recommending a change that people can use absence, use vacation during a probation now? And just help me understand that. That's pretty common for people to not be able to take vacation during a probationary period.
It used to be pretty common. I would agree with that. But if you look at where the HR policies around probationary employees have went, including the state of Nebraska. It is more common now to allow an employee on their 6 months of probation to be able to use that sick leave or that accrued vacation. We do not want folks coming into work when they're ill, and we also don't want to have our new employees who usually are starting in some of those entry-level positions, so their paychecks are much more important to them, to have to choose between their economic situation and coming into work sick. We really want to encourage folks, if you are sick and you've got accrued time, stay home, don't bring that into our workplace. We also know we have employees who know they're going to need certain time off through the year, and or through that 6 months of probationary period. And we want to not put people in positions of having to choose between their job or something in their personal life. We want to really look at how do we create balance between work life and be supportive of our employees and their needs personally, and their obviously need to have a job too. So,
And the likelihood of newer employees, younger employees having families that they have responsibility for is much higher too, and we recognize how valuable that is. And this is something that I think a number of department heads brought to our attention, Barb, if I remember right. That
yes, we had a number of agency heads requesting this change.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, Matt? Good questions.
How many asbestos workers do we have?
I never thought we'd ask that question, but here we are.
I've never seen that as a job title before. It's just maybe they exist in more than I know. I just didn't know we had a specific job that is just asbestos worker 2 and asbestos worker 1. We're not deleting them.
Cannot answer that
Yeah,
for
fair.
you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I should answer once I get back to my desk.
We can find that out and send it over, but
It's just not a job that I was aware of.
apologize. I do not know that.
Okay, you're fine. Everybody's fine.
Very good. Anything else? All right.
I would move approval of this item with the, with County Rule 19 being delayed until implemented March 20th, 2025.
Okay.
This item is I1 through 9.
I1 through 9.
Thank you for that. I was gonna.
Modification to item 9. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve item I1 through 9 with the amendment to make item 9 effective March 20th. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to 5J. Request for the following changes. 1, to revise classifications that require a valid driver's license to include the following language: possession of a valid driver's license and ability to be insured by the county's insurance carrier. For deputy sheriff captain, chief deputy sheriff, records management director, chief field deputy, chief administrative deputy, emergency management director, weed control superintendent, and to delete the classification of assistant director of community corrections.
All right, Barb McIntyre again. We have one asbestos worker 2. My team IM'd me that answer really quick, so I'll just answer for you. We have none in the one category, but we're keeping them just in case.
I want to thank that individual for their hard work. I wasn't aware that.
So this is very similar to what we just talked about. The first half of these listings is to not just insured, but able, or not just have a driver's license, but able to be insured on county insurance. And then that last assistant community corrections director is also cleanup. We're deleting that. We talked to the agency head. He has no intent of using that class again. So
I'd move approval of J.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve J. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 6, which is our legislative update.
I know, Mark, did you want to come forward, and we have a request from Mark, and then we have one other issue, and we'll discuss if there's anything more.
So good morning. The VFW Department of Nebraska asked me to testify on behalf of LB 693. LB 693 is a bill that essentially prevents unaccredited people who work around federal law and helping veterans. I guess help is probably a advised term, file claims with the Veterans Administration. This is something that's not legal under U.S. law. However, there's really no enforcement mechanism for it. And additionally, these folks will advertise themselves as claims consultants. What they do is, I mean, if you go online, you can Google, you'll find all kinds of different things there. What they do is they prey on veterans. They take the disability benefits that a veteran or a family member is entitled to. They, quote, help them file those claims, and then they'll charge outrageous fees for that. They do not have to follow any kind of VA-regulated ethics. They do not fall under the reasonable fees that accredited claims agents and attorneys fall under. And what they then do is start charging the veterans and using collection actions against them to recover the cost of whatever their fees are. And these can be outrageous. Some of them are as high as their first year's increase goes to this claim shark, is what pejoratively call them, or probably accurately call them. And these are for claims that most of them are fairly simple for a veteran to get approved. These are not difficult claims that require Board of Veterans Appeals or Court of Veterans Court of Appeals for Veterans Concerns, and things like that. These are things that our office does on a regular basis at no charge, that other veteran service officers do, et cetera. This is something that came up last year. It did not make it up committee for, I've been told, a number of reasons. However, these claims agents, these claim sharks, these claims folks have an association. They spent a lot of money last year to lobby against this in the legislature. We're taking a shot at it again this year.
Name of the association?
I don't remember what the name of the association is called. It's something that started last year. It's based out of Las Vegas. I'll have to I didn't write that down. I'll have to get that for you. I can get for you when I get back to the office.
Bill last year?
It was LB 1037, I believe. Either 1037 or 1027.
I'll figure it out from that.
Okay.
So, Mark, did we take a position of?
We did not last year. We were focusing on the Veterans Aid change. This hearing actually, for the LB 1037 last year, was the same day as our Veterans Aid bill. I testified as a private citizen last year because I was there anyway. This year, I'm asking permission to testify either on behalf of the county or, as a county veteran service officer. If not, that's fine. I can take some time off and testify as a private citizen. I think I've got a draft testimony that I sent to Dave yesterday. If you need that, I can forward that to you as well. But essentially what this does is this prevents these folks from charging Nebraska residents for their service. It makes it illegal, which means then if somebody does use them and they get these collection letters, they will not be enforceable in Nebraska. The other thing about these claims agents, they are not claims agents, I'm sorry, that is a proper term. These claims consultants, they do not have access to the VA's Veterans Benefits Management System. They cannot track claims with the VA. They can't keep claims on track. They state that they are fighting for the veteran. What they do generally is get some doctor who has never met the veteran, never examined the veteran, to write a letter explaining why the veteran should be service connected for X, Y, or Z. This is if it's not a presumptive condition. And a lot of times, these companies will actually have the veteran give them their login information to va.gov. They will then file the claim for them. The veteran doesn't even know it gets filed. I've spoken with various veterans who have had this happen to them in the past. I said, well, why did you claim this and other thing? You don't have those diagnoses. Oh, I don't know. They filed the claim for me. And then, the VA understands these folks, and they know who these doctors are that write these unexamined letters in support of the claims, and they generally ignore them. Sometimes they do get them. Most of the times, the veterans are getting service connected for the claims they would have been service connected for anyway, and then they have to pay the claims consultant some enormous fee. And so this is something that right now at the federal level, there are two competing bills in Congress, and there have been for the last several years. One sponsored by the recognized veteran service organizations trying to put some teeth into the current law, which does not allow somebody to charge to file a new or increased claim with the VA. And these organizations and their trade organization has sponsored a different bill that would then allow them to go and do that. And it just sits in Congress. It hasn't done anything for the last several years, and I doubt it will. So there are various states are working at the state level to try and protect veterans. I mean, nothing prevents a veteran from going to an accredited attorney or claims agent. We have Barry Law here in Nebraska, or in Lincoln's, is a very big veterans law firm, and they do good work for those types of things that you need that type of expertise, arguing before the Court of Veterans Appeals. But everything that these claims agents do, our office does much better, to be frank, and it doesn't cost the veterans anything.
We should have amended this into our bill last year.
Well,
it slid through.
Yeah, well,
It would have flown.
or it may have caused our bill to.
It wouldn't have.
Yeah, my understanding is the lawyer
No
for
worry.
the Military Veterans Service Committee or Military Government Veterans Affairs Committee did not let it out last year, even though the chairman is one who introduced the bill last year. So
I get it.
It seems like this is a protection for the people of
It
Lancaster
is.
County.
It absolutely is a protection.
And I
I just-
would be
I-
supportive of,
100%. I just read through the list of proponents. It's a list we want to be on.
yeah.
Do we have a motion?
I would make that motion, that we have Mark testify on this.
Behalf of the board? Have a second?
Yeah, second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to allow Mark to testify on our behalf on LB 693, Mark?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we think this bill's going to get a priority?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Do we think this bill's going to get a priority?
I don't believe it has yet. I don't know whether I'll have to talk with the VFW folks who are kind of shepherding this through right now. I've not heard that it is or is not.
Any further discussion?
I do know that this year that the introducer of the bill and 3 veterans, are on the Military Government Veterans Affairs Committee. So that's hopefully positive for us.
Any other discussion?
Follow back up with me later on this. I can help you out here.
Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mark. The next item we have, we discussed LB 318 with Sarah Hoyle last Thursday, and we did not take a position on that. I don't know if we need,
Which one was 318?
Dave, bring us back up to speed.
318 would provide for funding for youth in our youth services center. It would give them Medicaid funding to make them eligible. It's similar to our 1115 waiver.
Oh, yeah.
Health and behavioral services within our facility.
Why wouldn't we?
Well, Sarah was going to look at it just to confirm that there wasn't anything we didn't.
It's pretty straightforward. We would ask for authority for her to send a letter or provide testimony depending on how much information she can pull.
Do we
So-
want to just leave that up to Sarah?
That's what we're asking.
Yeah.
I would move that we leave it up to Sarah Hoyle's discretion about whether or not she provides in-person or written testimony, but that we take a position of support on LB 318.
Second.
Motion and a second to support LB 318 with Sarah providing either a letter or testimony. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Anything else, commissioners, on legislative update? All right, I'm not aware of anything, so we'll move forward, Mr. Clerk.
Next item is reserved for executive session.
I move that we go into executive session for union negotiations, pending litigation, and legal advice, and to protect the public interest at 9:46 a.m.
Second.
Motion is second to go into executive session. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We are now in executive session.
Motion carries.
Microphone on.
All right, Commissioners, next item is item 8, public comment. Members of the public wishing to speak in items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Any members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none.
Item 9, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, March 13th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, March 18th, 2025 at 9 a.m. with the Board of Equalization immediately following in room 112 of the County City Building. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Item 10 is adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn, please. Call the roll.
Schulte?
Yep.
Yocum?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes,
Motion carries.
we are adjourned. Thank you all.